Alright, so in this tutorial we will be looking at the design tool. So come to make sure you're interacting with your pivot chart and switch from analyze to design. This is not just about design, it's all about organizing layouts. So first of all, the first tools you can look at are the table tools. So we can design our pivot table to look like a regular table. So I don't know which version of Excel you might be using. Some versions require that you click on it before it updates. But for my version, the moment I hover on the table, it shows me a preview of what it will look like. So that's how it works for me. Yours might require you clicking on something. Now, what we're looking at is the subtotals and grand totals. Now, I made mention of grouping. So if I want to see the list of movies by country or by genre, what I'll do is I'll drag this genre, the general field, to rows, and I'll make sure I put it on top of the title. So watch what happens. Right. So this is a group. What we have here is a group, and this is how group works. So I'm going to show you how grouping works. So we have two things to take into consideration: the group name, right? So the group name and the group members, right? Group members. So when we want to group by any field, if we are grouping, so the group name will be let's say we are grouping by, in this case, genre, and the group members are titles. So we are grouping the titles by their genres, so grouping by genre. So each movie title will be listed under the kind of movie it is. If it's an action movie or it's a comedy movie, right? So that's how it works. So this is a group, and each group have its members. So we can have action. Action is a group, and then we'll have some titles under action. Then we'll have another group for comedy, and then it takes a list of movies that fall under comedy, and then we'll have a group again for drama, and we'll have the list of movies that fall under the category of drama. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So all of this is a group. It's called action. Action is the name of the group, and these are the movies that fall under the group of action. So when we look at subtotals, it says do not show subtotals, or show subtotals at the bottom of group or top of group. So whatever one you click on, subtotal at the bottom of group. So if we scroll to the bottom of this group, what we'll find is group subtotal. So let's keep going. Running man. Alright, so this is the action total. So like I said, action is the name of the group, and this is the total of every movie that falls under the genre of action. So this is how it works. Comedy, say this title makes 10,000. If this title has 20k, if this title is worth $10, all of these will be the sub. So when we add the total, so we can take a note that the total of all items in a group is considered the subtotal, right? The total of all items in a group is considered the subtotal. So back to Excel, we're still explaining same thing, that for the genre of action, everything under the group of action would be total. The total of all of those items would be the subtotal. So this is the same thing for biography. We're seeing the biography total. So when we say subtotal, so you can choose to not show subtotals and it goes away. And if you want to see the subtotal, you can set the subtotal and it gets the subtotal for all of that. Now the grand total, okay, let's show subtotal at the bottom of the group. The grand total, on the other hand, is the sum total of all subtotals. So take it that the grand total is the sum total of all the subtotals. Or items in the data set. That is the grand total. So we'll look at this and then we have the grand total. So if we turn on the grand total, so it says off rows or column, on rows and column, on columns only, on rows. So it depends on how you want to see your grand total. So the grand total of the rows and columns, or on for rows and columns. So if you go to the bottom, this is our grand total. The grand total is all the subtotals, because the subtotal is the total of items per group. So the group, when we add the total for every group together, we amount to the grand total. Another thing that is very important I want to show you is the report layout. So right now it's set to show in compact form. But what I like to do in the cases where I have groups is to show in outline form. So I'm going to click on outline form, and like I said, I really enjoy looking at data from the outline form because, right, so we can look at action. We don't have the movies directly under the group, but we have it looking in a tabular form. So action and all of the movies in the action is quite easier to read like this for me. So there are different ways. This is the tabular form we are looking at it. And okay, outline form just shows in white lines, but tabular form is my favorite. So tabular form is easy to read, and it's easy to read and it's just neat. That's a matter of personal preference. You can do whatever you feel like. So repeat item labels. So these are the item labels, right? These are the item labels for the group. So repeat all item labels. Remember I talked about row labels. So if I repeat the item labels, it's going to put action for every movie that is related to action. So if I repeat the item label, so you can see, this is why I say I prefer the tabular form. So it's easier to read, and we know that these movies fall under action. And if we go down, these are for biography, these are for comedy. And do not repeat, or you can set to repeat. So it depends on your personal preference when dealing with groups. So this is all about dealing with groups. Another thing we might be interested in is looking at the banded rows and banded columns, which this is what it does. Banded rows, like I said, it's all about layout, right? It's all about design and layout, what interests you. So if you turn on the banded rows and you set a color, so you can pick any of these designs. Let's see. So I will advise you to not pick something that's going to be too heavy on the eyes. Something light, something For me, I prefer something like this. That's fine. So this is it for row labels and designing setting your subtotal, setting your grand total, the different report layouts. You can come back to this later on and try it out. But as far as grouping goes in Excel, this is how you group data and how you manage your groups efficiently. So if you don't want to see all of this, you can toggle this off by clicking on this button. So you can toggle it open and close. Right. So you can do that. You can close all of that if you wish. Alright, so there will be the end of our tutorial concerning design. Now next tutorial we'll come back to our analyze tool and we will be talking more about the fields, field items and sets, creating calculated fields. So until next time, keep practicing and make sure you always practice and follow along with the videos. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the videos if you find them very useful. Till next time, keep practicing and keep improving.